Aloha mai kako, and welcome to Inspired by Aloha, a podcast dedicated to making your day a little brighter by showcasing that inspirational people and acts of aloha surround us every day. My name is Amy.
And I'm Shareen.
And I'm Erin.
And we are so grateful that you've chosen to spend a few minutes with us as we get ready to be
Inspired by Aloha.
All right, welcome back, everyone.
Yes. We're going to talk about Hanabata Daze.
Hanabata Daze.
I asked Erin, why do we call it Hanabata Daze? Yeah. Is it because we all had boogers?
Everything was running down. We had Hanabatas.
Well, speaking of Hanabata and Hanabata Daze, I distinctly remember third grade. There was this pretty cool kid. Like, he was the cool kid. He had cool sneakers. He had the long hair, like the surfer boy looking hair. Mm-hmm. But he would blow his nose in his t-shirt, in his t-shirt, and he'd lift his t-shirt up to his nose, and I'm like, hey, he's not cool anymore.
Pudding.
Yeah, that is literal Hanabata Daze.
Where did you go to school, Amy?
Why you like though?
Because we gotta connectedness.
Yes. Well, I went to school here in Mililani. I went to elementary school at Mililani Waiʻena, home of the Menehunis. And then Mililani was small town, so that's going to show my age. Mililani was small town, didn't have a middle school, so they would bus us out to Wheeler. At that time, it was Wheeler Air Force Base, and we went to intermediate school on base.
Was that like 6th grade or 7th grade?
8th grade, and then back to Mililani High School. So I'm a public school girl.
Woohoo!
Awesome.
I'm the only public school girl sitting at this table. But yeah, Mililani Wheeler, and then Mililani High School. Yeah.
Go Trojans.
Yeah.
Trojans, right?
Go Trojans, yes.
Yay.
So how about you, Erin?
I went to 2 schools when from kindergarten to 8th grade. I went to Marino Grade School.
Americano.
I loved it there. And well, all my sisters went there too. So it was just like family tradition. And then for high school, I went to Punahou.
Go Puns.
Go Puns. Left and Blues.
Was Marino a girls' school at that time?
No, it was co-ed when I was there. Not that old. No, I don't know. I don't know if it was ever.
Maybe it wasn't.
Was it ever?
Or maybe it wasn't.
I think it was always co-ed.
Yeah, and then you went across the street.
Mm-hmm. So I went from a little school to a really big school. But I was very lucky. Both experiences were really great. Got really wonderful friends from both. So I was lucky.
Wow.
Yeah. How about you, Beanie?
I went to the other school on the hill. I went to Kamehameha. Actually, I started off in Waiʻi for elementary school for a little bit, and then went to Kamehameha and graduated from there.
Oh, I thought you were a lifer at Kamehameha.
No, I got in an odd year. It was like 3rd grade. So it was really weird. Usually don't get into school at that time. In that grade level, you know how you get accepted into Kamehameha at certain stages.
But they saw you were special. So they're like, we're going to take her before we take everybody else.
I guess the spot opened up. So I was so excited. I remember the day my parents had something and they weren't telling me and I didn't know what was going on. So I'm like, what's going on? And my mom handed me the letter. And so I read through it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to, yay! So I get to go to Kamehameha. So
nice.
So excited.
How exciting. Yeah. Your parents went to Kamehameha, right?
Just my father.
Oh,
just my dad.
I thought your mom too.
No, she went to Waipahu.
Oh, Waipahu! She's a marauder. To this day, I don't know what a marauder is. Wow. Oh, wow. I always thought you were a lifer. That's so cool. So did you have to catch the bus?
Yes, we caught the bus.
That's a long bus ride.
That was a very long bus ride. And so we liked the days when we missed the bus. So Dad would take us into school. But, of course, Dad didn't like that. Right? Like, then he's late for work. But, so we caught the bus. And one great memory of Hanabata Daze is my mom used to always make us breakfast. And so they always knew when we were on the bus because they could smell, like, what we had for breakfast. So it could be, like, a bologna and fried egg sandwich, or it could be cornbread or something like that. And then mom would always give us one of those canned juices wrapped in foil.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we had that too. That was frozen the night before.
Yeah.
And was still frozen by lunch.
Like shaking it.
Like, yeah, you gotta shake it, warm it with your hands.
Oh, yeah. That was the Hanabata Daze koozie.
Yeah, that's right. Foil, aluminum foil in our hands.
Yeah, so that was good memories. But it's interesting though, right? Because whenever we see anyone too, going back to what high school you went, what school you went, why do people ask that question? Why do we get that
Why
question?
do we always say that? What school you went?
Because we want to see who we know that they know so we can connect. I think that's what it is, right?
It's that connection. And then when they say, oh, I went to St. Alamo High School in Colorado. Oh. Okay.
It is so
that is funny. One island that I worked on was on the island of Hawaiʻi. I guess there was one family name of mine in Hanalei. We don't have any family on Kauai. So people would say, oh, you related to so-and-so in Hanalei? And I would say, no. Oh. And that would be
Next.
that would be the end of the conversation because no more connection, Yeah, funny. But what school you in? Yeah.
I had a conversation with someone who was from the mainland, actually. And they said, it's really interesting because when you're on the mainland, you go to school, but then you never really connect with those same people once you're gone.
Oh.
Like when you leave high school, you leave high school.
Oh.
So when they moved to Hawaii, they thought it was really interesting how we always say, what school did you go to? And how there are still those bonds and connections between your classmates, because that's what, brings you close. So they were really, it was really different for them to see that Hawaii has that. In the mainland, not so much.
Oh, that's so interesting. I mean, just like us, we're connected from college, 30-something years later. But I bet you all of us still connect with our high school friends, too. I still have my group, too. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I guess, you also grew up, if you didn't grow up in the city, Honolulu City, then you were in smaller communities, Like our family had one car. So, if dad went to work, then, you didn't go anywhere unless you went on the bus and it was such a long ride. So, you spent your time in your community. So you really get to know everybody, So, yeah. So if you commuted so far from Waianae to, Kapalama, did you, were your growing up in Hanabata Daze, was your friends two-sided, like school friends and then neighborhood friends?
Mostly school friends. Yep, neighborhood friends not so much, but mostly school. And school activities.
You spent all your time
away.
Yeah.
That was the same for us too. I think my closest friends were my sisters, and my sisters were 8, 10, and 12 years older than me, so I have to give props to them for still playing Barbie dolls with me, or we did talent shows a lot,
cute.
We didn't have like really fancy toys, but so like we would have Barbie dolls, and like our Ken doll, like he lost his leg because the dog like bit it or something, and so we'd be creative and be like, oh, he came back from the Vietnam War, and stuff, and be like, but he's so brave, so we would just make up stories in that way.
That's cute.
Imagination.
Yeah.
I remember the radio was always on in our house, and depending what time of the day it was, what station it was on. So I remember in the early mornings, it was always on the original KGMB or KSSK now, right? It was Aku. Yeah, it was Akuhead. And it was always on that channel in the early morning because it had news or information. And then in the, I remember after school, it would be Hawaiian music. My mom would have it on KCCN AM, didn't have FM at that time. And there would always be Hawaiian music. And as a little kid, I remember gathering all the different Tupperware containers or, those containers, and then the pot covers and the pots. And I loved rhythm, so I would sit in my mom was so patient, I think about it today, with the chopstick and all my different types of containers playing the drums to whatever song was playing in the background. My mom made me go to hula. But I would turn my uli uli upside down, and that was my my percussion shaker, and so that's funny. That I think that's a bucket list thing that's unfulfilled for me. I never did learn a drum set, but I remember playing the Tupperware and the pots and pans, and it must have been so noisy. But my brother says, well, you must have been on beat, or else it would have annoyed mom. I said, I guess so. That's good. What do we remember about our childhood? Like, what are the things that we remember that that we don't see today? I mean, we had a manapua man that used to go around. I think we still get manapua man in Waianae, because
Waipahu too, I think.
I used to go to these meetings out at Nanakuli, out on the Boys and Girls Club, and manapua man was there. I said, manapua man, still get manapua man. And then my mom used to say, don't you ever buy anything from that truck. You don't know how safe it is to eat from there. But they used to sell the fried noodles in the wax paper bag.
That's right.
Right? And you could take your 45 cents or whatever lunch was cost. Oh, sorry, you guys went private school, you don't know. Lunch was like, I don't know, in high school it was like 45 cents, and school lunch was junk, and then the manapua man would come, and so my theater friend would be like, come on, Aim, go buy fried noodles. I can hear my mom saying, don't you ever buy anything from that truck. Then the man with the greasy apron, can I have a fried noodle? And then the wax paper bag. It was so ono. Must have had plenty of ajinomoto. It was so ono. And then I was so worried that if I had food poisoning, I'm going to have to lie to my mom and tell her that I didn't have food from the manapua man.
So for the listeners that aren't from Hawaii, what is a manapua?
The steam bun, the white steam bun
Char siu
with the
bao.
char siu inside, the char siu bao, right? And the manapua man was always a Chinese man with a dirty apron. I'm so stereotyping. I'm so sorry if you are a manapua man. I'm so sorry. But, in my childhood memory, I remember he had manapua, pork hash, the rice cake, all on the top shelf. And then he had like the Chinese fried noodles.
Canned juice.
And then candies.
Candy.
And then there was
candies,
candies on the lower shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. He was so patient. I think about, we're paying cents for things,
Right.
Yeah, in a white van. Now when you see a white van, you're like, don't go to that white van.
But back then, it's like, everybody runs to it.
My, how times have changed. I know.
Do you guys remember Gibson's or like Gems or Woolworths and the
Yes.
Gibson slide?
Yeah.
I never went on it though. Did you guys go on the Gibson slide? I always wanted to go, but
Yeah, I
you
don't
didn't
think so.
go?
No.
I remember there was a burlap bag, and it made my legs really itchy.
And it was a really tall slide,
It was,
right? It was
yeah.
about maybe 3 stories or 4 stories or something.
Well, there was
Was
one
that the
in,
big blue one?
There was one in
There was one in Mapuna Puna.
Yeah, I went to the one
Waipahu.
in Waipahu.
Waipahu.
Yeah.
I remember the Waipahu one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then next to Gibson's was in Waipahu was Sunset Theater, and it was a drive-in theater.
Oh, I used to love
Those were fun.
drive-ins.
Yeah.
Which was the one that had ghosts in the bathroom?
No,
Was that Waialae?
Waialae, yeah. Waialae, where the storage place is now. Yeah. Oh, drive-in theaters were so much fun.
And remember they had those big microphones, or it was like the speakers.
speakers.
There were like these metal speakers that you hang on your windows. Oh. And no one really watched the movie. I don't remember. I remember just running around, just hearing your parents yelling, "Get out of the street!" It was like they're just running around.
The fun days. Yeah, those were fun memories. What else was we used to play outside all the time, all day, and then you had to be home by dinner, right? Or by the time that
Before Dad came home.
Yeah.
Before Dad came home, you had to be home.
I remember riding bikes and my brother skateboarding and all
Do you
their
remember
friends.
those roller skates that you'd put on the bottom of your shoes? They're like the metal
The strap-on, yeah.
the metal
Yeah.
strap-on skates.
Super noisy.
Stupid and kind of painful if you didn't like put it on well. You could huli over real easily.
And you could feel the vibration even at night when you're going to sleep. Like you can still feel it in your legs. Oh,
And you
yeah.
step up if you get the sneakers that's already attached to the wheels.
Oh,
That was the fancy one.
oh, those are such great memories. There was this weed that used to grow in the ground cover that had these little like pods on the end, and we used to fold the stem over and shoot them at each other. I don't know if you guys ever seen that. I don't know what they're called. Somebody's gonna know what that was called. And so just a couple years ago, I was on a neighborhood walk, and I passed a patch of weeds with that same pod-looking weed thing that we would shoot at each other. And I took a picture of it, and I sent it to my childhood friend that I used to shoot that thing at. And she goes, "Oh my gosh, memories! Like, what? Oh my gosh, so funny."
What were some of your favorite places that you used to eat at that might not be around anymore?
When we were kids, there was a Pioneer Chicken. Pioneer Chicken. Chicken. But we would go there after school. And one day, they were having coloring contests. So I was a little kid. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to draw something. So I drew something. And then we left. And then the next day, we went back again. And then I said, oh, look, Mom, there's my picture on the wall. And then the manager said, did you draw that? And I said, yes, I did. Here's a drumstick because that was so nice. And we got like free chicken.
Wow, free chicken.
And I'm like, wow, I got free chicken.
So lucky.
And thus began your artistic career.
Thanks to Pioneer Chicken.
I remember Pioneer Chicken.
I think it's a bank now. You know how things change, but yeah. What about you, E.T.?
I remember Magoo's Pizza. And I remember Mr. Sub before Subway and all that stuff. But in childhood, like the place we would go a lot was Zippy's. And I mean, we still do. We go to Zippy's a lot. And they would have like drawing contests as well, right?
Yeah, the drawing contest.
Like on the piece of paper that was maybe like a placemat or something, and you would draw, and then they would put it.
Coloring contest.
Coloring contest.
We didn't eat out too often, but there were distant cousins of my grandparents that ran some iconic restaurants in Honolulu. So Casey Drive-In, the Wisteria, Sekia, Suehiro, not there anymore. Yeah, that's Gyotaku now. But those were run by Likelike Drive-In. And those were run by distant cousins of my grandma. So, we would go to, when we were in Honolulu, we would go there. Yeah. And Mililani was a small town at that time, so there wasn't, a whole lot of places. There was no H2 freeway. Now I'm really dating myself. My dad would sometimes drive us to one of those Spence Cliff restaurants in Waipahu. Yeah, used to have plenty of those, all around the Spence Cliff restaurants. And I remember always ordering spaghetti, and they had the water came in that curvy brown glass, and you could get prizes for coloring. You used to give the kids the coloring thing, and then they would go in the treasure chest, and you could get a little prize.
I used to love the treasure chest. Shakey's had a
Shakey's.
treasure chest. Or Shakey's. Bob's Big Boy, I think they had a treasure chest before.
Yeah, how come they don't have that kind now? Now when you go get one chest, but they you put food for the food bank. Yeah, that's a good thing though. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
I remember one thing I remember enjoying doing as a kid was licking and posting all of those stamps onto my mom's royal stamp card. You remember that?
Yeah.
And then if you collected enough stamps, you could get things, right? Like I think my mom got a whole dishware set. You save enough of these cards that filled with stamps. That was my job. The stamps on. And I used to lick them and put them on. I know it's really yuck.
Back in the day, we
licked stamps. Now they stick themselves.
Or the icy, the frozen drinks, and they had the little stamps on the side of the cup. So you rinse the cup and then you cut it out.
That's right.
I don't know what we did with those, but all I remember, that was my job. Rinse out the cup and cut it out.
For the prizes.
For the prizes.
That's so funny. There was a skating rink. It was the old Foodland, so this is I mean, the foodland in Mililani is old, but there was an older foodland before. And when that foodland moved to the current location, that empty space became a skating rink. And it was called Skate Palace. And I can't believe that we just spent hours just going around and around in a circle, right?
Reverse.
In those, who knows what kind, foot fungus we got in those skates, but just going around and around.
That
and
was the
around.
place to go, man.
Yeah, that was fun, right? With your friends, hanging out, and I would try and find my friends that I knew had money because I didn't have money, so they would buy a soda. When we were young, well, actually, all the way through our growing up years, our grandparents had a farm in Kaneohe, so we would go quite often on the weekends to work on the farm. It's Kaneohe, so it's lots of mosquitoes, and so when we got to the farm, you changed your clothes, you put on farm clothes. So they had these old fatigue pants and long sleeve shirt, and then your boots. You had to put boots on, and then mosquitoes loved me, and so they still do. Yeah, they still do. and so as soon as I exit the car, right. So as soon as you got to the farm, you sprayed yourself with off from head to toe. But they still came, and so my grandpa, the mosquito punk, the green coil mosquito punk, right? You light the end, and it has that stinky smoke that comes out. And then they had these little gold tin containers that you could put them in, and it had a screen, so you could put it on somewhere, and all the smoke. So my grandpa would put a mosquito punk in the screen tin thing, and then he would tie a rope to it, and he would hang it on my pants. And so I remember, I can still smell it, but I would walk around and do my work and be covered but it worked. Kept the mosquitoes away.
That's so cute.
Mosquito punk.
And I was the younger side of all the grandkids, so there were certain jobs that I couldn't do. I wasn't tall enough or big enough to go do, and so there was one job that they had me do. My grandma grew anthuriums, and so they had this big anthurium hothouse, and the anthuriums were grown in coconut husks. So chopped up coconut husks would be around the roots of the anthuriums. And my grandpa used to trade with this, or I think he traded with this Samoan family to bring coconut husks, and then they would take bananas. And so there would be this big mound of coconut husks, and my job was to cut up those coconut husks. So my grandpa would sit me down in this makeshift little stool with a little table with a sickle that was actually welded and attached to the table. So it looked like a paper cutter. So you pull up the sickle, and then you stick the husk in there and make sure you watch your fingers, and you chop up the husks into these squares. Well, the coconut husk pile is outside, right? It's in the field, and it's rainy in Kaneohe. So as you pick up the husk, there's all these little critters curled up in the coconut husk, right? So I would pull up a coconut, and I would throw the coconut husk over my head, because curled up in the middle of the husk is a sleeping centipede.
Oh no!
Iridescent blue, iridescent red, sometimes black. And there's all different colors. There were so many, but they didn't all have centipedes. But every now and then I'd be like, and I would throw it over my head. And
it's quality control.
And they had all these buckets lined up, and so the job was you cut up the husk until you fill the bucket, and then you carry the bucket into the big hothouse where my mom and my grandma and my aunties are, putting new husks around the anthuriums. And then, the men would come back from the field, and my grandpa would say, "What are all these husks doing thrown around behind you?" I distinctly remember that, though. So when I see coconut husk, I'm like,
Centipede.
has those memories. Yeah, my grandpa would just go in there, just cut them in half. Just I don't want to wake it up, right? I bet they were more scared of me. And then my brother was older than me, right? And watch, what? How big is that centipede? Well, you go look. So he picks up one of the husks. Oh! I said, see?
We used to have the B-52 bomber cockroaches in our house. And I remember one time my parents were out, and then it was just me and my sisters, and I was probably maybe about 5. And so my sisters were like teenagers, and then there's this, it was just one cockroach and 4 screaming girls. And I swear it was just having fun with us. Like, it was like dive bombing us. Like, I remember actually seeing the cockroach fly towards my head, and I swear I saw the underbelly. And I just, whoa.
Why do they fly towards you? Yeah, it's like crazy. So it's like a chihuahua when they come, they all come flying towards you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, what you gonna do?
Yeah, like what you gonna do? The rain not gonna help.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
That's why you would get your rubber slipper.
Even sometimes a rubber slipper never works.
That's true. Parents used to use that for to discipline.
You had the rubber slipper.
I had the rubber slipper, but our slippers were kind of not that strong, so they didn't hurt at all. When they would hit your okole, right?
Oh, but
you had to act like, you're so
so you were drama. You were drama.
Yeah, of course. I was like, I had to get
Well, if my mom used a rubber slipper, would be her feet so small. No, now I know why my mom never used the rubber slipper.
Not enough.
Yeah, you had the rubber slipper.
No, we had the wooden spoon.
Oh, the wooden spoon.
Yes.
It was depending
on location.
On the infraction. Yes.
The level.
The level.
Oh, we had the wooden spoon too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when my mom broke the wooden spoon.
I
think it wasn't on me. I think it was on Wes, and then we all just started laughing, and then we ran away because and I would run when my mom's like, "Go eat chicken," and she'd go in the jar to get the spoon. Then I running away, like holding my butt, running away.
Can get me.
I tried really hard not to get the spoon too often.
I think we're all pretty good kids.
Yeah.
Well, relatively.
We like to think so,
Right. That'll be
Gotta talk to our parents.
right? We like to think we are. I'm a good kid now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. You're very good.
I'm a good kid now. I think there are some unique things about Hawaii that makes us so it's so fun, to share stories that people do not understand anywhere else,
So what other kind of customs or traditions or superstitions do you folks remember from our childhood?
I remember always being told not to clip your toenails or fingernails at night.
Yeah, what is that about?
I never heard that one.
I think it was because if you clip your fingernails or toenails, that the spirits could come and collect your fingernails and toenails, and because it's a part of you,
Like the mana.
Yeah.
That's so smart.
Yeah,
so you don't do that at night.
So do you not clip your fingernails and toenails at night?
Sometimes I really want to because I have to, but I'm like, no, I cannot. I need to wait until the morning. So yeah, that and whistling at night.
Oh yeah, whistling at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to teach other people not to do it, and they don't understand, right? Because they might not have grown up with what we've grown up with and understand why we don't do what we do. But to tell them, stop whistling. It's just like, no, don't do that.
I think there's a lot of things we grew up with that I'm not exactly sure why. Like the whistling at night, that was because we don't call spirits, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Well, we learned at a young age that if someone's going to do something for you, that you give them a little gift, like a little something to say thank you. If you're gonna go to someone's house,
Right.
that you always take something. Don't ever just show up or go empty-handed. And we still do that today.
Yep.
Take off your shoes before you enter a place.
Take off your shoes. It's funny when people walk into your house with shoes and you're like, right? Everybody goes, ooh.
I would give someone a pass now, like if they had like plantar fasciitis or something,
Okay, yeah. Because we all have that.
I know when to suffer.
Right.
But
Right.
Well, we lived on the mainland for a while, well, it was during college, actually. I was at a friend's house. I was invited over for Thanksgiving. And of course, the tradition of us taking off our shoes it's what we do. So when I went to their house and I'm taking off my shoes and they're like, no, it's okay. Leave your shoes on. I'm like, I just can't. You just can't. No, I'm sorry, I can't. And so I just had to take my shoes off because it just felt so weird walking into a house with your shoes,
You don't realize how much is ingrained in what we do, right?
Yeah. From small kid time.
I think in our generation and growing up, not every family had moms and dads that worked. Yes, and some families just one parent worked. And so there wasn't, I never realized that there wasn't a lot of extra money. Like, I don't think I ever thought that, because we were all in the same boat. Right? Nobody had the electronic games or the cable TV, and because we didn't even have a microwave until, I just thought that was a luxury item, and it wasn't a big deal. I never felt like we didn't have money. And so my mom was a great cook, although she hates cooking. But every now and then we would have steak. And so my job was to tenderize the steak. So I would pound the steak with the back of the knife, right? Until she told me that was enough. Then I would salt the steak, and then it would go in the broiler, and we'd have steak. So I'll never forget, it was my brother's graduation party, and that's the time when that's a Hanabata Daze story, right? Where grad parties were at the house. You did all this cooking, and everybody just came on a flow, all night long, right? And so much cooking. And mom said, "Oh, prep the steaks." So I opened up the steaks, and I got the knife out, and I'm like, do. And she was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm prepping the steaks." And my mom said, "No, these are good steaks." She says, these steaks we don't pound." Oh, I didn't know that, right? We always pounded the steak.
We always.
Right?
Yep, and the meat tenderizer. That must have been so bad for us, but I remember that's what we always did. And then we'd go to Sizzlers a lot. And so I grew up thinking that steak was always hard and tough to eat. And then it was only when I was like an adult when I actually went to a good steakhouse, I was like, "This is steak. It's like butter." I didn't realize this is what steak is really like. So it was so funny.
Well, I think as a kid we all had, I don't remember, well, maybe there was, I don't remember, but we all had firm mattresses. So your beds were hard, right? And I don't think
or loopy, like
So I don't think I realized that there were softer beds until I was an adult, right? I'm like, "Oh, this bed is so soft." Oh, well, they're not all just firm mattresses everywhere in the world.
Well, we have to give our parents props because my dad worked like 3 jobs to support 4 girls, and send them to school, and he and my mom wanted her to be a stay-at-home mom so that we'd have like that stable family life. And now as an adult, I really appreciate all the sacrifices they did for us, you know, to put everything into education.
Right.
But we never went on trips, and our vacations were camping at Hauʻula or Bellows.
Right.
Nice. And it was wonderful. Macaroni and cheese, like Kraft macaroni and cheese and Spam. Was like, woo, like the best dinner. Or Spam and cabbage.
Yeah.
Or Spam with pineapple on it. It was like 100 different ways you can make Spam. We had a Spam cookbook. But we never felt like that was lacking of anything.
Yes.
So we're very lucky that way.
Yeah. Well, my brother and I, we were at I forgot whose party. We went to some kind of party, and we were all excited because it was like a really local style party at some local style restaurant so long ago. And he goes, "Hey, look. Oh, get Spam and cabbage on the buffet line." We was all excited. But yeah, I never felt lack.
Kalua pig and cabbage was when you're stepping up. A little bit special.
Well, that was
special occasion. Spam and cabbage was every day.
That was special occasion at our house. But I never felt lack. My parents worked really hard. My dad had to travel for work, so I didn't realize it until I was an adult that, wow, my mom, she had to be like single moms sometimes for 4 weeks, 6 weeks if my dad was away for work for a while. So that was hard work, you know.
You don't really understand until you get older, I think, and that's the appreciation you get after looking back at what you've grown through. And and I think for us too, it's just the little things, going to the beach and having dinner at the beach or camping at the beach and having what do we have, those pita pockets with spaghetti and frozen vegetables all in there, and you'd eat it like a sandwich.
Hey, we
so
never had
delicious.
that.
Oh, yeah, we have that.
It was canned spaghetti, right? Canned spaghetti.
Yummy.
But it was so delicious. It was like yummy. So camping. I remember when we were small, my dad would teach us how to fish. And a lot of times we'd catch oahu. And then sometimes we'd catch a coconut tree. But he would teach us how to fish. And it was just doing things outside, going to the beach, learning how to sand slide on our sand sliding board and making your own toys or building a bookshelf, things like that with what you had. So you don't have to go buy it, but you can make it.
Right.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Right. I had this Fisher Price village set that you know how you take it apart and put it back in. It had all the little square and round people and it had the little police station and the little theater. And I remember I would play with that for hours, creating soap opera scenarios and and talking to myself and just the imagination.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I always wanted the Weebles Wobble, but instead we got the cheap version. I don't even think it was Fisher Price. 'Cause they didn't always fit. Yeah, the little people didn't
Weebles
fit.
wobble, but they don't
fall down.
Yeah. I love Lego. I still love Lego today. I used to get my brother's hand-me-down Lego, and I still love to play Lego.
We never had Lego as kids.
I think my brother got a bucket handed down to him from somebody, and then
As a toy?
Well, no,
Or
just
just a bucket?
Yeah, just a bucket of Lego.
Oh, a bucket of Lego. I thought it was just a
Lego
bucket.
pieces.
I was like, pretty. No, you guys had it rough.
A bucket of Lego, and then when he was done playing with that, then I would play with it. I wasn't very good at it, but yeah, the small things that you just appreciated. But I remember having a lot of imagination.
Yeah, because you didn't have anything else to distract you.
Right.
TV or phones or games. I think one of the things we learned too as kids is the value of time, I guess, and then also doing hard work. Or having chores. So when we were kids, we had chores to do. It was either set the table, when you're done, clear the table, sweep the floor, wash the dishes, or dry the dishes. I also learned that if I helped, I might get something. So my mom was a home ec major. And so she would sew all my clothes. So I would get to pick the patterns. Remember patterns?
Oh, patterns.
Yes, I remember patterns.
Patterns from Coronet or something.
Yes, or
Singer.
Crest.
Yes, or Crest.
Yeah.
Yep. So I could pick the patterns that I
sweet.
wanted, and then my mom would make them.
Wow.
But in order for her to make them, she would have to have time to do them. So I would have to do my chores. So it's cleaning the bathrooms, washing the laundry, doing all of those while she was sewing for me. So then when I finished my chores and I checked in on how she was doing, then she'd come up with a skirt, the skirt that I wanted. I'm like, oh, thank you. So learning that value of, you're helping and then someone can do something that you want too. So it's kind of like a give and take kind of thing.
Great lesson.
Yeah.
I remember Mom making our Halloween costumes and sewing those. So she would stress out.
But she had 4 girls.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
That's really nice.
I was a sheet ghost, just like Charlie Brown's cut the two pukas. But chores, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Saturday was clean the entire house day. But you could watch cartoons in the morning and then you had to clean the house. And my brother and I, we had certain chores assigned to us. And then my duty Tuesdays and Thursdays was cleaning the bathrooms. All the way through high school. So we'd be walking home from school and my friend, she would always remind me, it's Tuesday. Why do you have to remind me. I'm like, really? Like, I was conveniently forgetting that it's clean the bathroom day, right? So I would like conveniently forget. I'd come home and, you know, start doing my homework or whatever. And mom would be like, did you clean the bathroom? Oh, is it Tuesday? I used to also conveniently forget to go to hula lessons. I was not good at hula, so I would forget that it was Wednesday. And mom would be like, "Ay, it's Wednesday. We need to go to hula." Oh, okay. Yeah, but chores. And, you know, and my mom did a good job in teaching us the skills we need. You know, you can cook, you can clean, you can take care of things and take care of other people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Important life skills.
Yes. So grateful.
I learned not to complain because it would be like summertime, especially. I would tell my mom, "Oh, I'm so bored." You know, when I was young, and she's like, "Well, then you can sweep, you can mop." She gave me the whole list of things, and then I quickly learned never to say I'm bored anymore.
Mom kept you busy.
Mom kept me busy. She's great.
My dad was originally in the Air Force, and so, you know, he had served his time and then worked in civilian jobs on the mainland before we returned back to Hawaii. So when we came back to Hawaii, my mom wanted my brother and I to do cultural things because she wanted us to understand our own culture, whether it was Japanese or Okinawan culture. And she wanted us to learn Hawaiian culture because we lived in Hawaii. And so, you know, we both were sent to go to the community ukulele lessons. My brother ended up doing a little bit of sports. And then my mom, of course, I'm a girl, so she signed me up for hula. I was so bad at it. You know, some people are just naturally hula dancers. I was not a natural hula dancer. Although I loved Auntie Yolanda. She was a wonderful kumu hula, and she was a beautiful dancer, but I was not a beautiful dancer. So at some point, my mom said, all right, I was going to go to high school. So she said, okay, you can quit one, but you can't quit both. Okay, I'll stick with ukulele, right? Because I didn't really... I liked to watch hula, but I wasn't very good at it. So, you know, my grandparents, they, you know, played and sung Hawaiian songs by ear. And my grandpa actually spoke Hawaiian because he used to work with Hawaiian guys in his job. And so I always thought I was Hawaiian. Like, as a kid, I thought I was Hawaiian because my grandma said, yeah, you're Hawaiian. We're all Hawaiian, is what she told me. So I was in middle school, and my brother was at some point in high school. And at the dinner table, we had family dinners, right, every night. And at the dinner table, my dad said, "Oh, just curious, like if we had the money to send you folks to private school, I'm just curious, what private school would you have wanted to go to?" So my brother goes, "Oh, I would have wanted to go to Iolani." I'm like, "Ew, I want to go over there for." And he goes, "What?" And we used to fight a lot, my brother and I. He goes, "Why? What school you want to go to? Where you like go?" And I said, "I want to go to Kamehameha." Kamehameha. And he's like, "Stupid. You gotta be Hawaiian for go Kamehameha." I'm Hawaiian. You're not Hawaiian. You Japanese. You Japanese Okinawan. You're not Hawaiian. Grandma said I'm Hawaiian. And my mom's like, "Oh, sorry, sweetie. You have to be of blood Hawaiian to go to Kamehameha." And I remember going, "What?" But Grandma said I'm Hawaiian. And Wes is like, "You stupid." I was like, "You know what? Dad said if we can go to any school." So you never say
This is a witness.
But you know, my grandparents and my parents instilled that, you know, when we live here, this culture is important to us. And so
That's great.
You know, for me, this talk about how we're inspired by Aloha is just so deeply rooted in who I am. And so I just think that's such a great thing.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in with us and helping us to go down our memory lanes and to talk about things that were important to us as we were growing up here in this very special place.
Yes. So
Thank
good.
you.
So good. Aloha, everyone.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.